We'll move into the question and answer period now, and that will be run by Jim Sacco.
The next question is for Tarik Abdelazim. What do you see the role of the government to be in the lives of the American people?
Great question. I think it's very important that this is like probably one of the greatest discussions we're having in our country right now, right? What is the role of government? And I'm not one of those people that's going to scapegoat and slam it. I think that when we look at right here in our region, we were just devastated by a flood. Who helped us? Fire, police, sanitation workers, the Army Corps came down, the folks from the state came down. I mean, those are critical functions that the government play, ensuring our security and the health and safety of our families. I think the government should also plays an important role in egregious corporate abuse. I think that's one of the major problems right now. Hey, I support a constitutional amendment that says corporations are not people. That's why I don't have confidence in Washington. It is no offense to my colleagues over here, but it is a cesspool of corruption. It's Republicans and Democrats alike. I'm not somebody that just is, blind to that. It's that they are bought and sold by corporate masters. Our energy bill is written by Mobil and Exxon. Our farm bill is written by ADA, Monsanto, and Cargill. Right? Our health bill is written by insurance companies and drug companies. You can go on and down the list. They don't address the needs of our communities. So here at the federal government, clearly, there's a role in which we cannot play alone. Right? How many people here, and I know this whole debate in Obama, you didn't do that. And there's a debate of what he was referring to. I heard it. I thought he was referring to the bridges. I thought he was referring to the streets, the infrastructure, the electric grids. When we went through rural electrification in the 50s and 60s. And time's up. I hope that gives you some sense. But the most important thing is to rebuild trust and confidence. That's why I wanted to get into public service, to restore integrity and excellence, again, to public service, to make it a noble pursuit. Thank you.
This question is for Tarik Abdelazim, and I believe this refers to all politicians.
Yes.
Okay, you can address this to all politicians. What is your position on term limits for politicians at any level?
I support them wholeheartedly at every level. Whether it's 2 or 3, I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't think we should make careers out of it because that's where we see corruption emerge and unfold.
This question is for Tarik Abdelazim. What ideas do you have to prevent or limit property and/or financial damage occasioned by drastic flooding such as we had in 2006 and 2011?
Well, I think the most important thing is to be honest. There's no silver bullet. There isn't. There's going to be many silver BBs. And we're going to have to stay very focused for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Also have to be very honest. The amount of investments needed is tremendous. When I actually heard a politician say, all we have to do is add 2 more feet onto our flood walls. They aren't Legos. They go down about 40 feet. Those are the tip of the icebergs. How many people think that we're going to see that kind of investment from federal government in our communities? It's not going to happen. So one, we have to make sure that and this is where the question about Agenda 21, I do believe in planning. Imagine if you were in New York in 1870 and then you suddenly were transferred to New York City now. From New York City to 1870 to now. Wow, where's all the sewage in the street? Oh my God, how did you do this? They planned. So I think we'd have to look at that. We're not going to build homes or any other infrastructure in our floodplains unless that they're going to meet the floodplain provisions. Why? Because when that home gets damaged for being put in a risky environment, who picks up the bill? You do. Your kids do, right? So let's be have some foresight and prevent that expenditure and waste of resources and protect residents and their loved ones. I think we also need to look at, here's something we did in the city. Every infrastructure investment we make, how can that be a silver BB? So the last 2 parks that we did, we used green infrastructure. The water is actually retained right there on the infrastructure. Instead of asphalt, it goes into the sewer systems, everything backs up during a dramatic flood. So these are ways that you can mitigate major rain events. It's just small steps, but over 20, 30 years, we could see a major improvement. We also passed and improved our erosion and stormwater regulations at the city. We did that, again, with those same interests in mind. And then we secured a grant for $200,000 to help business owners and incentivize those same improvements. Not that we require them, we incentivize them because we want to build a healthier and more resilient community for our residents.
Next question is for Tarik Abdelazim. I'm going to give you a choice. You may have answered this to your satisfaction, so if you think so, I'll ask the next question. But what do you think about Agenda 21?
People want to hear more about it? I'll ask them. It was funny, I wasn't too familiar about it earlier, and I got a tip from one of your organizers. And so I looked it up, and this is no kidding. The guy who was asked to speak on behalf of the UN defending Agenda 21, his name was Tarik. And I was like, I can't catch a break here, I'm in trouble. You know, a lot of it is about, you know, international regulation of property rights and individual liberties and rights. As a planner, here's how I approach things. You know, I just made a major investment, my life savings, into a home with my family. I don't want someone to come by, knock 2 homes down, and build a pig farm. There goes my investment. I appreciate local codes for those reasons. How many people here have called the code enforcement department in your municipality? Again, raising a concern about issues with the neighbors. That's, again, those are important local codes. They're there to protect the security, the health, and the safety of our residents. They're there to also protect your investments. I mean, so that's how I've always seen them at the city. And you know, this is funny, we're having a big debate about chickens in the city because it's a growing trend. People are concerned about where their food's coming from, and they want to grow it locally. I love that. I mean, that self-sufficiency, that independence, that fierce spirit of independence. But we want to be proactive. Let's make sure that folks have the rights to do this on their property, but it doesn't impinge upon your neighbors. It doesn't create a safety or health hazard, that it doesn't damage the market value of your home. So I started reading some about Agenda 21. I was like, holy cow, I am not some delegate of this international conspiracy. I'm helping solve problems when people call me from within my hometown.
Next question is for Tarik Abdelazim. What do you see as the single most important issue facing Broome County in the next 2 years?
I think it's fracking, and that's based on my conversations, again, with the residents all across these communities. It's likely going to proceed, and it's likely going to proceed early next year, and so we need to be prepared. You know, when the reason why I'm running is, you know, I'm a new homeowner, new father, continuing our family here, 10.5-month-old son, is I want him to call this place home. And is we have to be very careful that what happens over the next 5 years, this is a boom and bust economy. There's no extractive industry that has never followed a boom and bust model. The boom might be good for some, but then we're all stuck with the bust. And so we have to make sure that we minimize any risks and don't compromise the long-term vitality of this special place that I and many of us call home.